Hello, my friends. Master Boone Brown, Ancient Ways Martial Arts Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Parents are always bringing their kids to us and asking us to help their child focus better. Now, just to be clear, parents, your child can focus just fine. Don't believe me? Try to get their attention away from their favorite movie or video game. See that focus? That's pretty amazing. What parents really want is for their child to be able to focus on the right things and stay focused on it. For instance, let's say that your child is in school and they're beginning an assignment. The focus is turned up. But then the kid next to them has a gas attack. And the two of them, and probably a kid or two nearby, spend the next half hour snickering and making gas noises. Focusing on things that are fun will always override focusing on things that are work. And I don't think adults are really any different. But we have the self-discipline to make ourselves put our phones away after our break and get back to work. So when parents are asking us to teach focus, they really want self-discipline. They also want their child to have the ability to be serious about something and get it done and not get distracted by the beautiful day out the window, the pretty girl in the front row, the football game that's going on in their head, and the kid next to them humming the SpongeBob theme song. So how does martial arts training help with this? At Ancient Ways, we know that parents will have a shopping list of things that they want for their kids. But in reality, all of them boil down to just two things: confidence and self-discipline. I know it seems like there's a lot. I want respect. I want, all these other things. But it really boils down to those two things. If we focus on those two things, all of those other things get taken care of too. Now, confidence comes not through being successful. That's a false sense of confidence. But instead through trying, failing, trying and failing and trying until we are successful and then getting a reward for it. And that stripe on the belt or a new belt. Self-discipline comes from learning how to make yourself do something you don't think you can do, which is like everything in martial arts at the beginning, or something that doesn't seem as fun as other things and still doing it well. We hope that what happens is that our students learn that the effort is far more rewarding than the accomplishment itself, and that they learn to value that work ethic. We hope they learn to enjoy the thrill of being able to make themselves do something important, and even when there are more fun things that they could be doing. But the focus parents want and kids need is being able to do a thing and put their mind solely on it, or so that they can hear something else that's going on, be aware of the world around them while they're focused on something. Imagine your kid's playing video games, but still hears you when you call them for dinner. Maybe your kid is working in school and doesn't get distracted by the kid behind him tapping his pencil on the desk like he's doing a drum solo on late night TV. If we can, this is the kind of thing we can definitely help with. But it's one of the harder accomplishments that we strive for. There are many places where a student must do a thing and be mindful of it. We want them to think of their technique as they do it, then do a lot of repetitions of that technique to burn it into their long-term muscle memory. And eventually we want them to stop thinking of it so it becomes just a natural reaction in a time of need. One example of how we do this is our forms. In karate, they're called katas. In taekwondo, they're called pumse. Some schools don't teach forms anymore because they are so far removed from reality. And many teachers just don't have what it takes to redesign the forms so they're realistic like we did. When a student follows us as we do the forms, they are not necessarily learning it. It's like following a GPS in a car. You don't really know how you got there because you were following the GPS. Students just get stuck in that follow mode and could tell you the first or even the last move of the form. They aren't mindful of what they're doing. The focus comes when the student learns through struggle and sometimes through failure and decides to get serious about putting their mind on what they're doing so they can remember it themselves. We call this cognating, or, like I said, being mindful. Some students can memorize the form pretty quickly, but then aren't mindful of having the best technique that they can possibly have. Both will eventually get through this with time, energy, and effort. But it does take time. For some, it takes years. This is why we revisit 100% of our material at Red Senior Belt, and then again when they go for their black belt. We aren't really interested in a student getting green belt or purple or blue. We want them to get their black belt. Green belt's an important step, but anything they don't get now, they're eventually going to get at Red Senior. Some of the methods that we use to get the students to cognate the forms, you might be able to use at home. One we call follow delay. And this is where we do a few moves of the form and the student watches us, and then when we say go, they do the same moves. This way they have to remember it at least for a few seconds. Each time the student succeeds at this, we do a little bit more, so they have to cognate a bit more each time, and eventually they're memorizing the whole form. Another thing we do is we refer to as call-outs. So this one's important for certain types of learners. It's not going to be beneficial for every kid, but it was crucial for like my daughter Janelle. And so we do the move and we say what the move is, and the students have to say it too. Turn to your right 90 degrees, go to a cat stance, do a number 2 outside block. Do a front leg front snap kick, step over to a good front stance, left hand hook punch. Some will even get kind of a sing-song pattern going as they work their way through. You can even hear my adult students, sometimes as they're going through the form, they'll actually say it as they're going along. This helps their mind to be active as their body is learning the form. If your child is not getting the forms, don't worry about it. I know some parents really do. Some of this is just age dependent. And like I said earlier, they're going to do them again at Red Senior. And if you look at it realistically, no one's going to do an entire form in a fight to defend themselves. So the movements within the form we want them to really be successful with. We don't fail someone based on their memory of the forms, but we do on their lack of effort. If they're trying and have developed the right skill level for each technique, then we're making some great progress. And to give you a quick reminder too, we're playing the long game here. I know if we keep them coming, their shoulders are going to get strong enough to keep their hands up. Their core is going to get strong enough to get those kicks higher and have tons of power, as well as execute great skill. But if we blast them on their inability to do these things now, which is probably just due to muscles they are still developing, they will not want to come anymore, and we will have accomplished nothing. Your job is to be their biggest fan. Praise them for the little stuff. Let them know how proud you are. Give them a thumbs up, a wink, an okay. If they fall down in class, let them know you thought it was the best fall you had ever seen. It's all about positive reinforcement. Believe me, many of our current black belts who amaze you today were just like your child. We got them there, and together, we're going to get yours there too, with focus included. Thanks for listening. Master Boone Brown signing off.